reason for anyone from a township to go to a mayor's conference. A mayor's conference is a mayor's conference for mayors.
Appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
Is it finally time for Mayor Tiffany Henyard to step down? Things have taken a sudden turn for the worse, despite the controversial mayor of Dalton, Illinois, having been in hot water for some time. It seems she will no longer be able to live like royalty on public funds. The stakes have now been raised, following significant discussions about Henyard's lavish lifestyle, extravagant spending, and questionable leadership. There are indications that an arrest warrant is being prepared for her, but who can she blame for this? Her right-hand man, of course, who has allegedly betrayed her in the most dramatic way. Let's set the stage. We're talking about first-class airline travel. Tiffany Henyard, the so-called super mayor of Dalton, a small town of just over 200 residents, has been living large as if she were in charge of a major metropolis. Recent reports reveal a trip to Austin, Texas that cost an astounding $47,000. The trip included dinners at high-end restaurants and stays at luxury hotels like the Four Seasons, all funded by public money. Moreover, this was not an isolated incident. These lavish trips and other questionable expenditures have caused Dalton's debt to soar into the millions. Does she think she's a celebrity traveling the globe? Meanwhile, Dalton's residents are left to pick up the pieces of a failing municipal administration and mounting debt. But the real drama begins with Tiffany Henyard's former chief assistant, Keith Freeman, once the person she trusted most. Freeman is now at the center of this unfolding scandal. Not only was he her confidant, but he also participated in siphoning money from the municipal budget for their personal gain. 3 luxury SUVs, totaling over $374,000, were leased through arrangements made by Freeman and Henyard. Freeman managed to persuade Dalton taxpayers to cover extravagant expenses, amounting to tens of thousands of dollars. For a while, this dynamic duo seemed to have complete control over the town. But everything changed when the federal government stepped in. Freeman is accused of turning state's witness, exposing Henyard's financial dealings, and being charged with bankruptcy fraud. As the mayor's house of cards collapses, it appears her right-hand man is pulling the plug. He has reportedly handed over incriminating documents and is assisting federal investigators. As if Freeman's betrayal wasn't bad enough, it doesn't stop there. According to reports, he is now portraying himself as a victim, claiming that Henyard was the mastermind who coerced him into committing these crimes. Talk about a plot twist! It's fascinating to see how Henyard is responding to this massive betrayal. She is not backing down easily. In recent public appearances, she has taken a defensive stance, portraying herself as an innocent leader, misled by those around her. "I was duped," she claims. "I really relied on Freeman to guide me through Dalton's procedures." This is a tough sell, considering she served as a trustee for 8 years before becoming mayor. In response, she is referred to as the trustee for 8 years before becoming mayor. How could she not know the proper way to handle the town's finances? It seems more like an attempt to shift blame than a genuine defense. But the question remains, will she escape punishment this time? For a moment, it seemed as though she might prevail once again. Henyard's outspoken personality and unyielding determination have helped her overcome challenging situations in the past. She has a history of publicly retaliating against critics and contesting accusations. Do you remember her confronting a room full of Dalton police officers during a power struggle with the department, telling them to stop playing these useless games? This is a woman who likes to have the last word. She has even hinted at running for a second term, as if the drama in her current predicament weren't enough for a lifetime. But with Freeman singing like a canary, Henyard's prospects are looking grim. Adding to Freeman's betrayal, there are rumors that Henyard is losing support among her close associates, many of whom have benefited from her position of power. Reports suggest that some are cooperating with law enforcement in hopes of securing leniency in exchange for information. Henyard's once loyal inner circle is crumbling as the federal authorities close in. Insiders claim the FBI already has enough evidence to ruin her career permanently. If an arrest is made, which seems likely, Dalton may finally get the justice and answers it deserves. But how did it come to this? how did Tiffany Henyard, once poised to lead Dalton in a transformative way, end up in such a vulnerable position? Let's take a closer look at the rise and fall of Dalton's most infamous mayor. Upon her election in 2021, Henyard, the youngest and first female mayor of Dalton, was hailed as a refreshing change. She promised the small town growth and improvement, but her administration has been plagued by controversy from the start. Henyard's financial decisions instantly triggered red flags. Excessive out-of-town spending was one thing, but the lack of transparency was another. There were reports of suspicious transactions, missing financial records, and outright disdain for transparency laws. The town of Dalton was being driven out of existence, in addition to being poorly managed. Trustees like Tammy Brown often expressed their worries, but Henyard's tight grip silenced them. He wasn't just a mayor, he was the king of Dalton, and anybody who tried to challenge him was quickly put in their place. Apart from the embezzlement of public funds, Henyard transformed the police force into his personal army. In many investigations, he was accused of using law enforcement to intimidate critics and opponents. During his tenure, police spending rose by 21%, and some officers were paid more than their basic salaries for overtime. Why not? After all, the police were his enforcers. He soon became known as Dalton's dictator, a nickname he seemed to accept rather than strive to escape. At a town hall gathering, he allegedly even hired a DJ to disparage Rihanna's "Bitch Better Have My Money" and demand respect from his people. Talk about audacity. I do not believe that to be legally correct. But that is not all. Henyard allegedly attempted to launder stolen money through his own organization, Henyard Cares, which was supposedly established to help cancer patients. When the group failed to produce the requisite financial documents, it was severely criticized by the Illinois Attorney General, who even threatened to file a lawsuit against it. Henyard continued to funnel thousands of dollars into the organization by abusing state funds. Even worse, he reportedly used township staff and resources to support the group, not to mention his peculiar suggestion to enact a law that, in the event he lost the next election, would have reduced the township supervisor's salary by 90%. Many individuals thought this was a clear attempt to manipulate the system. As more of Henyard's actions were revealed, the village's financial condition worsened. A multi-million-dollar surplus suddenly turned into a shocking loss under his leadership. Dalton's general fund balance, which was once comfortably in the black, is now in a $3.65 million deficit, mostly the result of Henyard's reckless spending. The locals are understandably furious and are looking for answers. It seems the feds may finally capture their unstable boss as they gain ground on him. If the reports are accurate, there's a lot of evidence against Henyard. This isn't just a matter of a few poor choices or moral failings, but systemic abuse of power and blatant disregard for the rule of law. Henyard's attempts to portray himself as a victim are thwarted when confronted with the overwhelming evidence against him. From extravagant trips and egregious financial mismanagement to using the police as his personal security detail and attempting to launder money through his charity, the list of alleged wrongdoings seems endless. What is the next course of action for Henyard? If Freeman's testimony is any indication, he might soon face serious consequences. The federal government is intervening, the public is demanding accountability, and his former followers are turning against him. It is an enormous fall from grace for a man who once promised to save Dalton. As the walls close in around him, it seems his days of flaunting power without repercussions are coming to an end. But in politics, especially in Dalton, anything is possible. Will he manage to escape once more, or is this the beginning of the end for America's most controversial mayor? One thing is certain, this drama is far from over. Time will tell. Public opinion makes it clear that Henyard's days are numbered. As one comment noted, he's falling. The mountain of controversy he has accumulated is more damning than his weak defense. He has done too much wrong, and his case is too weak. So, people are fed up with his excuses and distractions. Another critic doesn't hold back, stating, "The average person would realize it's over once someone is imprisoned. Henyard won't understand until he's behind bars." Many are enraged by his persistent narrative manipulation and lack of accountability. So what do you think? Will Henry Yard finally face consequences, or will he somehow escape punishment? Will Freeman's testimony be the deciding factor that pulls him down, or will he shift the blame once more? So what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to dailyfinder.com.